What is going on, YouTube? Team Gradelock, and we have another deck profile, but this time it's from our Murakumo player, the Murakumo helmet, the one and only Murakumo player at Game On, Erick Lopez. He's gonna break down his deck profile of the new Nova Grapplers, and let's see what makes it so good.
All right.
Alex, are you in tournament? Love you. Are you in tournament?
First, we play Beast Deity White Tiger because White Tiger. This deck actually does need a specific starter, so no more running perfect. No more running Turbo Riser or battle. No more running Battle Riser as a starter because White Tiger is better and cooler. Then we play 4 of the Ace Grade 3 in the deck. Beast Deity Azure Dragon. His on plays, counterblast 1, draw a card, call a card from your hand to rear guard, and attack with it. If it doesn't hit, you restand the unit. If it hits, it does nothing. This card is really great for rushing against decks that overextend and use a lot of their hand or have a low hand early in the game. This is really good against OTT, Bermudas, and Shadows, which just utterly were able to get rid of the board, and the drawing the card helps you refill the board. And the beginning of the attack really makes them think like, do I want to take this? Then if they take it, they take it. And it's just like it's detrimental. Like they either decide they take it or they guard it and they restand, because this is just a death sentence. You write on when your opponent's on 5th damage, you call a rear guard, you restand it, you attack with it, they guard it, they restand it. So it's just really good. We play 2 Insight Riser. Pretty simple. On attack, counterblast 1, restand all units on extra rear guard circles. So if you have like 3 markers when you ride on him and you get 4, you attack with your 4 rear guards and the 4 excel circles, and then you just restand those 4 again. So this is just good for overall, just great for multi-attacking, a good finisher if you have like a really good board and you really want to eat your opponent's hand that turn. We play 2 Perfect Riser in those scenarios where if you ride Incise first and you need another grade 3 to ride over, and you ride Perfect Riser, so you could just swing, counterblast 2, restand 2 units on your Excel circles, and if the attack hits, you countercharge since you have a Riser and Soul, with Incise being that Riser. Next, we play 2 King of Sword Misprint, just because it's a meme to run the Misprint. His basic ability is Soul Blast 1, choose 2 units, give them +3. If you have 5 rear guards, give them +5 or more rear guards, give them +5 instead. He helps making your rear guards hit for numbers. Coming out on a Azure Dragon attack really helps because he just sets your rear guards up for hitting for big numbers in the main phase, and you can just still draw cards and filter with the rest of the stuff I'm going to show you. Next, we play another good grade 2 in the deck, Refilling Riser. Another target for Perfect Riser if you end up riding him first. So if you wrote Refilling Riser first and you ride Perfect, it's really good. His effect is when on attack, choose a unit, give it +3,000. If it's rested, give it +5. So what I personally like doing is I like calling this on an Excel circle. Attacking, giving a rested rear guard like the next grade 2 I'm going to show you, giving a +5, then restanding of the Azure Dragon's ability to counterblast 1 and restand a rear guard on its attack. So yeah.
Or I can help out at like 2 breaks maybe.
Next we play 4 Brutal Jack. Yeah, Jack is back at it once again. His new effect is continuous. On your turn he gets +10,000 power. Also continuous on your restand phase, he can't stand, but he has a really good active effect that allows him to stand during the main phase. You can rest 2 units and restand Jack. I know that sounds really minus, but with a new grade 1 we got, Scarlet Bird, which I'm going to go into a little later, you could Soul Blast 1 and restand your whole board, so you can restand the units you got for Jack for free. And overall, on Excel circle, he's hitting for 29, which makes him hit for force numbers. On a regular rear guard circle, boosted by 8K boosters, makes him swing for 27, so he's still hitting for protect and Excel numbers against them. Next, we play on our new rear grade 2, Beast Deity Black Tortoise. His effect is pretty simple. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. You can restand him, and then you attack with him. That's all he does. If he doesn't hit, he restands. It's the same as Azure Dragon, but calling him on the Excel Circle and the turn you do Azure Dragon lets you go attack 1 with Azure Dragon. They guard it. If he's restanding, he's restanding. If they don't, you effect, counter blast 1, Soul Blast, restand, attack. That's another 10 drop from their hand. And then you call Scarlet Bird, you restand your whole board. You swing with this again for another 19, and then you swing with Azure Dragon, and you restand him with Azure Dragon's second ability to counterblast 1 and restand a rear guard. So basically, you'll be able to get approximately 3 to 4 attacks with this guy on a good turn, which is what I really like about him. Because now with how everything is and like rushing with these on grade 2, you can get your opponent to 4 to 3 damage pretty easily, and you don't care if you get them to 4 to 3 damage, because I'm about to show you why. Being the Murakumo helmet, this became the bane of my existence. Beast Deity Scarlet Bird. Its ability is Soul Blast 1. On call, restand all units. That includes Vanguards. So Zanbaku basically just does nothing against this deck now. You just call one of these and then you just restand your whole board for free. And you draw a card if you reset 2 or more and you have White Tiger in the Soul. So the helmet has been broken.
See, even though he's not playing Murakumo, he still has Murakumo in the mind.
Yeah. Next we play 3 Riser Customs. It's a good first turn ride because if you really want to push the pressure, you can Soul Charge 1 and attack with it. But if you want to just have it as a good rear guard, it's also a great rear guard for Jack. If you have Jack on the rear guard circle and you want to restand him with, it's just really good for Jack. It's really good with Jack and Turtle, because if you're rushing with Turtle on your grade 2 ride, you swing and they guard it because they don't want to take the damage. You restand Tortoise and then you activate its effect to restand in front of it. And then late game, you call this in front of a Jack, you swing 27, and then you restand it, and it's just a 27 column again. So this is immediately a 20 drop on its own, even when helping on an Excel Circle. Next we play Play-Doh Mechanic. This effect is pretty simple. On place, if you have 4 or less cards on the board and hand total, draw a card. And when you counterblast, you can sack him to unflip. So this is really good when I finish attacking with, say, a Jack in front of him, and I want to restand him with Azure Dragon. Because I can go swing with Azure Dragon, restand Jack, sack this to basically refund the cost. And it's also good for getting cost back in the main phase with Tortoise. Because say you only have 2 counterblasts open, and you counterblast it to call for Azure Dragon and call Tortoise on the Excel Circle, and you swung, they take it, you counterblast for Tortoise, and you Soul Blast, you restand it, you attack, and then you sack it then in that moment, so this way you have 1 damage face up when you're at 3 damage, face down 1, so this way you still have another counterblast to pay for Azure's effect to restand Tortoise again. It's just a really good card that gets you counterblast, and it's pretty simple. Next we play 3 Screaming, Dancing, Announcers Shout. His effect is rest him. You and your opponent both reveal the top card of your deck. If your grade is higher, you draw the card. If your opponent's grade is lower, they soul charge it. It's vice versa. So you soul charge it if yours is lower and your opponent draws it if theirs is higher, and both grades are equal, you both draw them. The reason I play this is because there have been many games where opponent has hit a 5th damage or 4th damage or 3rd damage trigger that prevents all of the rush and the hard work I do, and just resting it to force my opponent to check the top card, and if it's a trigger and it's a grade 2, it helps me build a board. It gets rid of their defensive triggers, it gets rid of a luck factor. So basically opponents can't really sack as much as they want if I use this. And that's not to be said that if they're a deck and they play grade 4s like Brant and Bermudas and Royals, because all 3 of those decks use their grade 4s and they draw them. Oh, and Years. And if they draw them, they'll always win it. But sometimes getting the soul charge is really good for Tortoise and Bird, because you need to have Tiger in your soul. Because having Tiger in your soul for your Scarlet Birds to draw that card helps. and these do acclimate a hand. I played a game where I had 2 of them on board, and I used the skill 14 times, so each of them did the skill 7 times. And my opponent lost on it 12 out of the 14 times. They only won twice, and they only drew 2 grade 3s that did nothing for them. I was at a very detrimental point where they had 6 triggers in the soul and 3 grade 1s and 3 grade 2s that would have made like a difference for board and pressure. Now we go to triggers. I'm playing 8 fronts because crits do nothing for the deck. You get matched up against the Nova Grappler. You get matched up against anybody else. The crits will realistically do nothing. You hit a crit trigger. Let's say you play 6 draw, 6 crit. You hit a crit trigger and a draw trigger to break a 2 to pass, and your opponent heals on 6. Your rear guards are going to be the rest of your rear guards are going to be poking for small numbers, while you only have 2 rear guards taking for big numbers. So 8 fronts help push the whole board to hit for big numbers, especially when you're rushing and you call 5k draw trigger on board and you need to hit for game. And you need to win for game. Next we play is 6 draw. We play 6 draw because drawing cards are good. Hitting these in the damage are really nice. It's better to hit these instead of hitting a front trigger, because then you have a higher chance to draw a normal unit than a front trigger. Because hitting these on a 2 to pass is like going draw a front, and then you just give power to Vanguard, then you just bank to hitting the front trigger, and hitting that front trigger wins games. Now, because 6 plus 8 equals 14, I'm only playing 2 heals. And playing 2 heals works really well. Against the brand player I played last week, they used the skill, and they realized I was out of heal trigger, so I couldn't deal damage to myself. And they were on the grade 3 brand, so hitting a double front killed them. Because literally, I can't lose if I'm only playing 2 heals and I know they're out of deck. I can lose in certain matchups, but it's just heals don't do much. It's an extra 5k shield from a front trigger. It's really whatever. Honestly, when the new set comes out, I'm thinking of taking out 2 draw and doing 10 front. Because 2 heals are just iffy. It's just like, I'd rather hit more fronts to make my front row hit for bigger numbers. You know, honestly, like, I have rear guards that are swinging for 27 and 19 and 19 on the Excel circles, and then I hit 2 fronts. They're hitting for 47, 47, and 39s each. It eats up so many cards in hand. Against an OCT player, they were at a 10 card hand, they went to no cards and they lost that turn because I hit more fronts than heals. And yeah, there's a risk factor if I go up against a Cogwheel player and they're out on Waterfall, but it's just like, it's whatever. I've acclimated enough hand where I can guard with the 2 heals I'm playing in the deck and 2 front triggers, and I can be fine. And if anything, it's just good. It's consistent. Oh, and because I'm broke, I use regular Excel markers.
You're cheap!
Yeah, and I'm going to be using regular Excel 2 markers.
Where you guys gonna go? Can you get me those?
Berry flavor?
2. Thank you.
And when Excel 2 comes out, I highly recommend taking out the draw triggers and bumping them down to 2.
That's fine.
Because you just draw more cards when you're on Azure Dragon, because you draw 1 with this skill, then you draw 1 off the Excel 2 marker. So
That's right.
it's pretty much that's it.
Alright guys, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell button because I don't care, but Eric cares because he's a Murakumo player by heart. And I will see you guys next time.
Deuces!
I hate you.